Hiya, kids and cadets. Welcome back to Tommy Time. Thanks for coming out. So, working on quite a few projects today. I was taking a break on the front porch, having a mango. My neighbor gave me a pile of mangoes. It's mango season in Southwest Florida. So, my Cuban scrapper showed up, elderly gentleman. I saw the back of his truck. He had two pressure washers, a push mower, and that's all I could see for handles. So I went over and I was looking at the mower. He had a mower on one side of the truck with a weed eater stacked on top of each other. So I was looking at it. He goes, no, 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 no. So apparently that was his personal weed eater and lawnmower. So the only thing he directed me to was the two pressure washers. He had this steel blade with the chain, and then he had like an older home light weed eater, which had been in the sand. The primer bulb was missing, and the thing was covered in sand, so I told him no on that. So I went to pull this over. Once we unloaded, it was locked up. I couldn't pull it. This one here, the Honda pulled, but the recoil here is kind of all broken up. I was able to rotate it. It looks like somebody's spray painted it black here. So that's got the hose, and this one here has the hose. So I wish I owned Tommy's Express Car Wash, but I don't. If you want to find a location nearest you, you can get a free Works wash. They should put their email address on here for old guys like me that don't take pictures. Now, that was a screw up on their part. So I was in the process of taking a break. I got one baby 20 on my deck. I had grabbed this one to fix. It's just a MTD 300E. I've got another baby 20 ready to go. I got it at 140. I figured I'd have a backup. So I've got three, besides that one there, I got three self-propelled and another pusher. So I'm still pretty low on inventory. So let's discuss this thing. My first impression of this is it looks like it's a Chinese engine, like a Predator, just because of the recoil design, and this tank reminds me of a China style tank, yet it says Briggs-Stratton, Milwaukee. I'm wondering if they outsource this engine to somewhere else. But I see Briggs-Stratton there. Maybe they do make it in Milwaukee. This is a 2021, it looks like. The engine's the 1617675. So when I couldn't pull it over, I thought, okay, pump is shot. It's locking up the engine. So I was working on the baby 20, decided to look at this. So I try it again, and I got a little bit of a pull out of it, like right like that. So I said, wow, something's funky. So I grabbed my plug socket, took the torch plug out. That gave me another indication that this might be a China built. machine, or did somebody put this torch in? So I see the gap filled up here with, I don't know if it's oil or water. So I said, okay, we're on to something here. We're on to the fact that the cylinder has something in there. So I gave it another tug, and it started burping up engine vomit. Oh, it just kicked it out onto the grass. I'll try to pull it over slower. See it right there? Right there. So it's a little bit of water and oil, is what I could tell. So maybe it has something to do with no cover on it. This should have a cover on it with another nut to hold it down. So if this was outside, it's probably direct water into the engine. So maybe I should put it to top dead center, blast some air in there, and try to get rid of that moisture. Maybe we can try starting this thing. Let's look at the gas. How long's this thing been sitting? So it's only 3 years old, and it looks like it. I mean, look at the recoil, it's shiny. The soap tank. Oh, okay. We got crust. This thing's been sitting a while with probably the first tank full of gas. I got my turkey baster. Let's take a sample into a bleach container here. Rubbing this at the bottom of the tank, I can feel that it's rusty down there. It's not smooth. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. Brown water with a little bit of gas floating at the top. That's terrible. So I gotta take this tank off. Apple cider vinegar, get rid of all that surface rust, and then put it back on. So let's try cleaning out the cylinder. Holy cow, that's bad. Was it just outside the whole time? Look at that. I've seen tanks with a little bit of water and the rest gas. This is just a little bit of gas, 5% gas. And the rest is brown water. So that's totally uncool. Somebody sabotaged this thing. Let's see what we can do about cleaning out the moisture. I'm going to pull it over a couple of times with a good yank. put a paper towel there, see what we can trap for goodies. Not blasted right past my paper towel. But you get the picture. We got some oil and a lot of moisture. So what's the deal with this thing? Was it in a hurricane flood situation? How can so much water get into the fuel tank and engine? Okay. So we know we got a yank on this. Sorry, Clucky, you're just getting beat to hell. Take some compressed air. You can see that sludge. I'm going to get a funnel, pour a little used gas down there to kind of clean that residue up. What do you say? Hey, this isn't rocket science. Just try whatever you can to make it happen. Digging up some old gas. So I'll turn it over and most of it'll evaporate. Some of it might go through the rings into the crankcase. We should probably check the crankcase. Okay, put my finger here and pull it over slowly. Keep the gas from blasting out. Until I'm confident it did its job. So it blasted into my hand and I can see some water droplets. Let me get another paper towel, put that there. I'm hearing thunder to the east, so I figured I would get this out of the way for you guys before it rains. If I had my secondary tank here, I could bypass this rust tank. I'm sure the carburetor is going to need some attention. It's got a 10 there. I could drop the bowl on that in a minute. I'm just looking at the Instructions. Looks like it's got a low oil level shut off. Safety. It's still kicking up stuff. Let me give it some more pullage. I'm going to compress some air into here as I pull it over. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get. So I'm still goobered up here on the plug. I just blasted it clean. We got a gap now. F6 TC. Let's put this back on, drop the bowl, see if that's all rusty and crusty. Considering all the water that was in this thing, my hopes aren't too high on having a clean bowl. I really don't mess with pressure washers too much. I figured I would take them since he came by. I gave 20 each for him. I don't know if I told you that. I probably didn't. And I got that still bar, which I looked at. It doesn't look like it's worn out. I didn't look at the chain yet. You guys know if this is a China built machine. I'm looking at the regulations, emission control, model year 2021, 208 cc. EPA standard. I don't see anything that says made in China, California. Yada yada. Pregnant women, don't look at this machine, could cause birth defects. Let me drop the bowl. I'll use the same container. I'll drop the gas and something else. It's not really gas, it's mostly water. Oh, and a lot of rusty metal came out, so that's rough. Tank definitely is going to need apple cider vinegar to get down to bare metal. Okay, gonna grab a 10. I hope the rain stays away. I'm trying to get ahead. It was kind of slow today. I had fixed a machine yesterday. Customer come out for it. Another guy just showed up. He said, "Oh, I lost your number, but I remember the street. I was just driving by. I saw you had some machines out front." I remember the guy. He brought me a couple of mowers he picked up at a yard sale for a couple of bucks. So I paid him. And I sold him a Craftsman. Well, he brought it back. Went home. He doesn't live far. Come back with it. So I've been trying to start for 2 weeks. I says, "Well, what does it do?" He says, "Nothing." So I pulled on it. It fired up right away. He says, "I can't believe it." So I says I really can't do nothing with it if it's starting. I can't diagnose it. So there you go. That's what's in the carb. I'm going to take the bowl off, try to blast it out with some compressed air. Maybe this thing will fire off, but I think there's too many issues with it right now with a rusty tank. Probably carburetor. Have you ever been to McDonald's and had a chocolate shake? I should probably really look at the oil. Oh, there's my gasket. It stayed on the bowl. So I don't know. What do you think? This might be beyond a looky look. Well, although I think all that oil in here helped me out. I don't see any rust. It's just milkshake goo. Maybe a shot of carb cleaner up into the jet. Okay. That was a no-no. I blasted out the pin on the float bowl. I saw it drop into the sand. Boy. I hate when that happens. This might be over with. If it's steel, I got a magnet nearby, but if it's aluminum, okay, I can't do both. I'm gonna have to drop the float, grab my magnet. Darn it. I know, I should have went up another foot. All I'm picking up here is rust from other projects. Okay, so I think we're done until I can retrieve that pin. You guys were watching. Where did it drop? It's got to be straight down somewhere. Should probably roll it backwards. Come back tonight with a flashlight. Maybe the light will shine off of the metal. It's got to be aluminum. Otherwise, I would have scooped it up by now. Okay. I got plenty of junk carbs. I'll just steal one off of another carb. Okay, so that was a failure. Probably needs to be taken off anyway. It's all filled up here with oil and water. So this was a crazy one. Crankcase full of water and oil. Gas tank full of water. And then the bowl full of same thing. So it kind of rusted this up. I'm getting some surface rust I'm peeling away here. So it didn't take them long to destroy this thing. I'm wondering if it was in a flood or left outside, but for the amount of water that's in this thing, it had to have been submerged, because it would have had to get into here to fill the tank. You saw how much was in the tank. Very little gas, mostly water. This was a submerged unit. I'll bet a McDonald's chocolate shake this thing was submerged. Okay. Tip you waitress and wait staff. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you coming out. Adios, amigos. This isn't a priority. I may make a note on this one and go back to my baby 20, because the baby 20 will sell before this pressure washer will. There is a slight demand. You have to have a guy that likes to do his own stuff. People are lazy. They just hire a company to do their pressure washing. Anywho, that's all I got for you. Nothing exciting. I guess we could, just for shits and giggles, I know it's not going to run on water. Does this thing have a fuel shut off? Yeah, it does here. Yeah, it's on the carburetor itself. Okay, I'm taking it off a full choke. I'm just going to direct inject, just see if this thing kicks off. At least we know where we stand. Yeah, the filter's kind of wonky, full of oil. It's kind of saturated. Geez, I wish I could ask the previous owner what in the hell happened to your machine. Okay. Just looking for my juice. Okay, I got the juice. I'm going to use the juice. I'm going to disperse nitro. Okay, choke it now that it's been blasted. Nothing. Okay, it just kicked off. Okay, so that's a good start. We know we got good ignition. Just got to clean up the carb and apple cider vinegar that tank. Looks like some of the motorcycle tanks I've worked on really rough. But that red coat sealer really does a good job once you get rid of that surface rust. Seal it with red coat, Redkote. It's an acetone-based sealer for gas tanks and whatever else needs to be sealed. Okay, don't do this to your machine. Water is unhealthy. Okay, you guys email me with pictures of your catastrophes. I want to get some emails from you guys. What junk are you working on? Send me some pictures. Tommy.time@Yahoo. See you guys. Adios, amigos.